obviously, there's a lot of focus on those geopolitical tensions, on the choreography, if you like, of who's in NATO and who's not in NATO, given a hugely important treaty. Yeah. If a NATO country is attacked, of course, NATO members are compelled to respond. So this is very high stakes, and we're right to be focusing on it. I think what's also happening, though, Mark, is within government, within the military and political establishment, eyes are now on the impact of this on financial markets, but also on the market for commodities. We've mentioned oil and gas. Also food, because the Black Sea, Ukraine, Odessa, that really is a grain funnel. You've got Russia is the world's biggest exporter of wheat. Ukraine's the world's third biggest exporter of corn. A lot of these commodities, these basic foodstuffs, come out of Central Asia through the Black Sea, through the Dardanelles to the Med and the outside world. So do you think that will be at least part of the thinking of the Western political establishment? Yes, I think so. I mean, it's the last thing that any of the players in this current, at the moment, this geopolitical conflict in terms of the rhetoric so far, not militarily, but if it goes in that direction, there is real concern, as you say, because of the fact that Ukraine especially, it has been known for centuries as the breadbasket of Europe, and for good reason. It is home to a quarter of the world's highly fertile soil, known as black soil. The black earth, that's right. Yeah, which is ideal, of course, for crop growing. You mentioned, of course, Russia being a massive exporter of wheat, as is Ukraine. It's up there in the top three. Corn you mentioned, but also other commodities like soybeans and sunflower oil. And not just Ukraine and Russia, but Kazakhstan and Romania, all big exporters of grains to the world that rely on these Black Sea ports to be able to do that. Any disruption... Cheap, heavy commodities, sea is the best way to get them around, isn't it? Absolutely. And any disruption of that is going to push the food prices around the world ever upwards at a time when there is real concern, understandably, because of the rising cost of fuel and food prices generally.